Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be comparing the 2020 Ram 1500 Bighorn Night Package to the Ford F-150 XLT Sport Package. So, as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on both vehicles, going from vehicle to vehicle, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to decide which one I think is the best route to go. A big shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo, and then the Larry H. Miller Dodge Ram here in Provo as well. I'm going to include a link to both their inventories in the description below. Let's get into the video. Let's go into the hoods of both the trucks. Let's start with the Bighorn first and foremost. So on the Bighorn, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. This one has the e-torque system. So power outputs are 395 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is going to be 17 around town and then 22 on the highway with an additional 130 pound-feet of torque off of the line. Now, over to the XLT F-150, we have a twin turbocharged 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. So we got 10 gears versus 8 gears. Anyways, power outputs are 375 horsepower and then 470 pound-feet of torque. So we've got more torque with the F-150, but more horsepower with the Ram. Now, fuel economy is 16 around town and then 22 on the highway. So the Ram does a little bit better around town, and yeah. Now let's finish things up front stylistically. With the Ram first and foremost, we can see that we've got the regular Ram hood, no sport hood on the night package, but we do get blacked out badging with the 1500 and then the 5.7 Hemi badging, all blacked out front end. So the night package will black out the front end no matter what color you get. So you can see the bumpers are body painted, the truck's body painted, but then the front grille is black, headlights are black. Parking sensors on the front of the Ram. No tow hooks, sadly. But other than that, that's everything on the night package. Now, coming over to the XLT, you can see that we've got these little bulges on the top of the hood. This right here is kind of like magnetic in color there in the center. Bumpers are body painted on the sport package. Headlights are identical to every other XLT F-150, so they're the halogen bulbs. Fog lights are just down below. This one does come with tow hooks, but don't see any parking sensors up front. So here's what I have to say is I feel like the XLT F-150 still looks good without the upgraded LED lights. The Bighorn, however, I feel like it does not look good without the upgraded LED lights. So this you can kind of get past looks wise, but this I feel like it has to have the LED lights because just looking at that light cluster, it looks a little bit funny. Let's head to the side. Now let's go over the tire and rim setup. We've got 20-inch rims here, 275mm on the tires, 18-inch rims, 275mm on the tires. You can see there's a little bit more sidewall there, whereas on that tire it's a little bit thinner. Now in terms of suspension, ride quality on the Ram is going to be a little bit smoother than the Ford. I'm going to start mentioning this in my videos so you guys can kind of know, but the Ram, even though it has larger sized rims, it is smoother ride quality wise. Now, we can see we've got blacked out side steps, and on the Ford here, we also have blacked out side steps. So everything's pretty similar there. And then on the back, you can see on the side of the bed, it says Sport. Here, it doesn't have anything, and let's head to the rear. So here's our key fob for the Ram. You can see there's a couple functions. There's your unlock, your lock, and your remote start. If we press the remote start function twice, first time we'll lock it, second time we'll start it right up. We hear that naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi come to life. If we press it again, that'll shut it off, and then if we unlock the truck, we can actually get into the bed here. So the bed, you can actually lower it down. It is dampened with the tailgate in the back. And you can see that there are no LED bed lights or anything like that. This has no bed liner either. This is the shorter size bed. You do get a little cargo light up top. Other than that, things are pretty simple in the bed. You can get a bed liner. Obviously, that's extra cost. This one has the traditional tailgate, so really light and easy to lift up, get into place. Now, here's the key fob for the F-150. You got a couple functions, your unlock and lock, no remote start function, and then it is a flip-out key. Now, I would start it up, but the Ram sounds better. Okay, now that we've moved on past that point in terms of noise, we can open up the F-150, so it's just got this latch at the top of the tailgate and does have a light next to it, which is pretty neat. But it is not slow lowering on this XLT, so you gotta kind of hold the tailgate as it comes down. This one does have LED bed lights in the rear. Shorter size bed again, no bed liner. Got the cab light up top. This one does have the F-150 step system, so it's got this little step you can pull out with this little handle, so you can step up onto the step, into the bed, use the handle, all that kind of stuff. Pretty simple system, and then it's really easy to get back into place. And when you need to lift up the tailgate, lift it up. Definitely heavier than Ram's tailgate. If you do get the multi-function tailgate, that will be pretty similar weight to the F-150 with that whole step system. Now let's finish things up stylistically. Starting with the Ram, we can see that the taillights pretty much identical to all the other Bighorns. They seem like they're a little bit darker, but they're pretty close to regular one. Blacked out Bighorn badging, Ram logo, 4x4. You got a little step on the back, the dual outlet exhaust, and both the tips are black. You got your receiver hitch, all of the plugins for towing, everything in the rear. Now with the F-150, again, you got the Sport on the side. You got the regular taillights that are on all of the F-150s. F-150 badging. You got the Ford logo, you got the EcoBoost badge right there, and then you've got the step on the bumper, parking sensors, you got a little receiver hitch, and then the plugins for towing. In terms of aesthetics in the rear, again, I feel like the F-150 looks cleaner. If this had the LED lights, it would look better, but it doesn't, so I'm not huge, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of what these, you know, standard lights look like on the Bighorn. Now coming to the rear of the Bighorn, we can look at the door panel here in the back. We've got this nice leather padding with the stitching, got this cool cloth trim with the black trim just up above it. Got a couple cup holders down below. Now the seat's already folded up, but I can throw these seat down for you guys. We've got this little center cup holder armrest thing in the middle. And then you can see here, we've got cup holders up above with that cool black trim. And then we've got a couple charging stations with some vents, full power outlet. Rubber floor mats in this particular one. Yes, you can pick up the seats, and then there are ice buckets just in the back, so plenty of storage space here in the rear. And then here's one more look at the rear of the Bighorn. Now opening up the F-150 XLT, here's the door panel. We can see that we've got this kind of trim right here that looks like carbon fiber. You can see, notice that the stuff on the door panel not as nice as what's in the Ram. And then we can look at the seats here in the rear. Now the seats in the Ram are a little bit softer than the seats in the Ford, but this has this kind of like cool little tread mark right there. All of our charging stations, this is pretty similar to what's in the Ram. Cup holders just up above. Got the flat loading floor, and then we can pick this up. There's plenty of storage underneath, and yeah, no ice buckets or anything, but here's one more look at the XLT. Now the front door panel for the Bighorn looks identical to the rear, so same padding, same cloth trim here with the black trim, and the door handle right there. All of your window controls, mirror controls, and the mirrors are power folding. Note that for when we go over to the XLT. Now we can look at these seats here in the Bighorn. They've got the premium cloth again. Like I said, this cloth's a little bit softer than what's in the F-150. We've got the adjustments for the seats. You've got the pedal layout just down below. Power adjustable pedals. You got your parking brake, your light controls, fog lights, cargo light, and then the steering wheel is going to be manually adjustable. And here's one more look at the front cockpit of the Ram. Now, looking at the front panel on the F-150, you can see you've got some nice padding here. You've got that cool kind of like carbon fiber looking trim. All of your window controls, mirrors are not power folding. You've got your door lock and unlock. I like the panel on the Bighorn, again, still a little bit nicer. Now here are the seats in the F-150. They got these nice bolsters. The cloth in the Bighorn, definitely softer. You guys can definitely check that out for yourselves. You got all of your controls for the seats, power adjustments, and then you got the pedal layout just down below. You've got the the automatically adjustable pedals. You got your parking brake right there, your lights, you got your fog lights, for example, your cargo light. And then the steering wheel over here is going to be manually adjustable. And here's one more look at the front of the F-150. Start the Bighorn, put your foot on the brake, push seat, push start. It'll say Bighorn. Everything will come to life, including the screen, all that, and you're good to go. Here's the steering wheel in the Bighorn. We can kind of zoom in. You can see that the Ram logo is right there in the center. You got your cruise control, gear selectors there on the side, voice commands. That is for the center stack. You got the stitching in the middle. The leather around the steering wheel, very soft to the touch. You've got your stock for the windshield wipers, also to flash the brights, and yeah. We've got our gauge cluster set up here. RPMs on the left side, on the right side, you've got the speed. And there's a couple different menus that you can scroll through on this. Pretty configurable. I like the look of the screen, all of that. It's a really clean, nice look here on the Bighorn. Just memorize that for when we go back to the F-150. Now here is our center display. You get a little charging 12 volt just up above it. Now actually going in the touchscreen, let's go over the camera system first. If I pop it in reverse, you can see a backup camera will pop up. You see the quality on it. The resolution on the backup camera I feel like is really solid. And then if we go to the rest of the screen, you can see a response time on it. You do get heated seats and a heated steering wheel, which is pretty nice. But everything in general on the touchscreen I feel like responds pretty quickly. It's a really good unit. Definitely in terms of the truck market, I'd say it's on the higher side of things for infotainment systems. We've got our controls for the radio just down here, your analog controls for the heated seats and steering wheel. It does have dual zone climate here in this particular Bighorn. You got your parking sensors to turn them on or off, your tow haul mode, stability control as well. And then over here is our gear selector to go into the different gears. Get your two-wheel drive, four-wheel auto, four-wheel high, four-wheel low, true neutral, and then your auto stop start that comes with the e-torque. And then we're actually going to pop over to the center console right here. So got this nice center console. Open it up, you can see there's a little USB, and then we can open it up again. You can see that there's little pie charts and everything right there on the back. This slides back and forth with the center console, and just down below we've got another full power outlet. That used to be a CD player. You've got the little USBs right here, and then you can hold your phone in this area. And finally, coming over to the glove boxes, obviously it says Bighorn on the front. Press that button, that'll open it up, and then pull this latch down over here, that'll open that part up. It is a dual glove box, and boom, boom, and you're done. Now up top here, we've got universal garage door openers. We got the power rear sliding window, which pretty easy to use right there. All of your light controls, and then other than that, you can see black headliner and nothing special up top. So you got a regular key fob here in the F-150, so you got to stick it in. Might take a second, but start it up. Built Ford tough, gauges will come to life, and you're good to go. Now looking at the steering wheel of the F-150, here's kind of like a full view of it. Now zooming in, Ford logo there in the center. You've got your controls for the volume controls, voice command controls, all that kind of stuff, phone controls, cruise controls on that side. I like this little trim here at the bottom, definitely a cool little look. And then over here, these are the controls for the center stack. The leather on the outside of the steering wheel is a little bit rougher than what's on the Bighorn. Stitching on the center of it. And then your stock for the windshield wiper, and then also for the brights, same place as what's in the Ram. Now, we've got our little center stack here. We've got RPMs on the left side, and the right side you've got the speed, and then you got the little center screen. See, it gives you pretty much the same information that what the Ram has. Just doesn't look as modern as what the Ram has in terms of the center screen, so functionality is identical. It's just that the Ram screen definitely looks a little bit nicer than what's on the F-150. You've got your stability control, your hazard lights, auto stop start, and then you got this little storage space up here. Now here is the infotainment system. First we're going to pop it in reverse. You can see you've got a backup camera, and then you can zoom in. The resolution on the Ram, definitely nicer than the F-150. I mean, you guys can go back, rewind in the video and see what I'm talking about. You can look at the trucks, especially on the side. That is a dead giveaway on that. You can see the parking sensors right there. The rest of the infotainment system, I think it's a pretty good system. Response time on it is relatively good. Seems pretty close to what the Ram had response time on it. Functionality on it is all the same, so if you're looking for similar functionality, then yeah, you're good to go right there. Now we've got our analog controls for the radio all in this little area, and then analog climate controls. You can see it does have heated seats. It is a single zone climate though, so note that. And then here is the shifter. So you got your two-wheel high, four-wheel low, and then you got your locker in the rear, trailer backup, and then you got your trailer brakes. And this is pretty cool. So you've got extra storage underneath here, and then obviously if you press it again, it kind of has that same carbon fiber look. Here is the whole center console layout. So yes, you've got this little shifter here. You can see how that actuation happens. You can shift the gears yourself with the 10-speed automatic if you want. You got cup holders next to it, and then you got the lid for the center console. Also doubles as an arm rest. See storage space here. So the Ford, because of the shifter situation and the cup holder situation, all that, doesn't have quite as much storage up front right there. But you've got this tier up just above the glove box, and then if we open up the glove box, you can see it has two tiers. The Ram has two different separate glove boxes, so yeah, I mean, I feel like those storage space overall, they're pretty similar because this has the two tiers and then the little storage just up above it. Now I've got our little sunglass holder up top, and then this is the control for the power rear sliding window. Pretty easy to use. Again, black headliner, and other than that, things are pretty simple up top here in the XLT. So let's briefly talk about pricing. So this Bighorn sticker's for almost $52,000. It's pretty close. XLT is about $53,000, again, pretty close to that. So there's about $1,000 price difference, which isn't all that much with trucks, so they're pretty much the same price. Now, which truck you go for is really going to depend. So the Ram obviously gets a little bit better fuel economy, has that nicer sounding Hemi. Interior is nicer on the Ram, whereas on the Ford, definitely has a little bit more on the torque side of things with that EcoBoost. Is going to do better at higher elevation because it's turbocharged versus naturally aspirated. That all being said though, if I were to choose, I would choose the Bighorn because I feel like it's a more complete package, even though I like the exterior looks on the Ford a little bit more than what's on the Bighorn. It has a nicer interior. I love the sound of that Hemi. I love the overall usability on the truck. I just feel like overall it's a more complete package. But that is going to sum things up for today's video. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below which truck you would go for and why. But as always, a big shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo and then the Dodge Ram here in Provo. Both of them have a ton of the 2020 inventory. The Dodge dealership actually has a huge amount of these Bighorn Night Editions, so if you're looking for one, definitely check them out. Like I said, I'll include a link to their inventory in the description below. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you thought. I will see all of you in that next video.